if you're listening to this, it is out now on every single platform.
It is. Go buy it now. I guess if the fans really want it, we'll have to give them something.
You heard it first, guys. Buy the game in masses, and DLC might just come along.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome to today's episode 16, a very special episode of that. We have the guys behind the TMNT Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge with us from Tribute Games right here in Montreal. We have Eric Lafontaine, the marketing manager at Tribute, and we have Yannick Belzil, the narrative designer, both working on a game. How are you guys?
Doing great. How about you?
Doing pretty good. I'm very excited about this special episode, which releases actually on the Thursday. We've put a very special place for this episode in our lineup because the game's actually releasing today. So at least on the day that we're releasing this episode, and I'm myself super excited to play the game and to get you guys to answer some of my questions, some of the audience's questions, and thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Awesome. Our pleasure.
Now, like I said, by the time this episode comes out, which is on Thursday, the game's out now, and now we're 2 days before the release, or 3 days if I'm not mistaken. How are you guys feeling right now with everything going on with the game? The hype is there. Everybody's super excited for it. They have been for quite a while. It just got announced at the Game Summer Fest. The 6-player co-op, Casey Jones. How are you guys feeling? You're still
it's overwhelming.
Sorry?
It's just overwhelming. And I think all that, because we did a bunch of interviews, Yannick and I at PAX, and like the team. And the hype was getting real, you know? Like people were coming to the booth, talking with us, like media partners, friends, fans, families, you know? And it was getting real. And it's getting even like weirder every step of the way. And, you know, as we announced Casey, the internet just blew up. We announced like... on the Monday before the release, the participation of Raycon and Ghostface Killah doing a track on the soundtrack, and you know, the love we're getting is just it's overwhelming. And still, I think we were looking at the Summer Game Fest announcements, like when we announced the release dates, we were like all the gang, all the studio was there at the office, and we were like kind of in awe, just like not realizing that, hey, my God, we worked on that game. We worked on that IP. This is so incredible. So I think it's just like a crescendo. And eventually at the release, we might die. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't look forward to the energy or the emotion drop that's going to happen after the release. Or maybe it's going to go even higher. But it's all excitement for me. Like Eric said, like I feel like we got a preview, or at least a taste of it when we showed the game back in April at PAX. And so even while making it, we were like, this game looks pretty good. It feels pretty good. I think it's gonna work. But even if you're super confident or positive about it working, you never know whether it's going to be received in that fashion. But I felt really happy and confident with what we made. So if nobody liked it, I'd be like, what do they know? But it turns out that everyone, at least it's really positive so far. People are excited for it. And that warms my heart. Like this morning I was checking out, like it was number 3 as a bestseller on the Nintendo eShop for a game that's not even out yet. So
it's amazing.
On top of it being exciting, I feel like I'm sort of in a state of gratitude at this moment because we're super talented team, and we've made great games before. I feel like this one is great, and the next ones are going to be great as well. But we were allowed to be in a rarefied air because we are working on this franchise with these characters. So I'm just trying like to enjoy it at the moment. Like again, it's not every project that's gonna have like a Rayquan or Wu-Tang collaboration, or Mike Patton for that as well. So really just enjoying the ride at the moment.
Yeah, it's so amazing. I was on my Switch, I think it was last night, and I saw that. I was like, it's very rare to see this. And you were like, you're just after a couple of first-party games as well from Nintendo. So it's a pretty big deal. Congrats on that, guys. That's amazing.
Thanks.
And you said, what do they know? That's what we're trying to like figure out in this episode too. We want to get to know more like the guys behind the game, right? And I'm sure like everybody at home wants to know more about you guys as well, because when you got a franchise like the TMNT, you know, I was just saying before we started we pushed the record button here. Like, I used to be dressed from head to toe in TMNT gear when I was a kid. I used to play with the figurines. I had the pizza truck thing that would throw pizza out in the front when you pushed a button, and it was like I had, you know, everything from the TMNT franchise. And when you, my hopes for the game were quite high, and there still are, but I played the game at PAX. I had the chance to play that game, and and play that first. Is it the first level that was available?
The first two levels.
Two levels. And so I was amazed by the game. And for the record, I haven't played the game yet. I could. I have a review key. I could, but I'm keeping it for the launch. I want to wait and play it with everybody else. Okay? But I was so amazed by the game, guys. And my expectations were so high. I want to know more about how you guys got to, like, how did you make those decisions to me, be very true to the original game or games, but I'll compare it to maybe like Turtles in Time for the Super Nintendo or Hyperstone Heist for the Genesis Mega Drive, and mix those little additional modern tweaks and twists to the game to really make it something that truly feels like a game from the 90s, but at the same time with a bunch of amazing features and looks and feel about that. It is very modern and is very 2022, if you will. So what was the process from the start when you decided, like, all right, we're making a TMNT game, like, what do we go from here?
Well, I think the genesis, the spark was, on it wasn't in tribute to TNA, because our co-founders, Jonathan and Jean-François, they worked at Ubisoft. They worked actually on a TMNT game for Game Boy Advance, and they did collaborate on Ubisoft's Scott Pilgrim, which is a classic beat 'em up now, which is a legendary game now, I guess. So with all that background, is for sure they're Turtle fans, and GF, our president, is used to dress up as Raphael. So,
I could not
am
wear
I getting
the
in
official.
trouble for saying this? So.
I couldn't wear the official tribute red shirt for PAX because we had shirts with different colors for each of the turtles, and I wanted to be Raphael, but I had to bend the knee and let the co-founder, president of the company, get his Raphael colors. But I accepted Leo Blue with cheer and joy.
So so it's on GF's end. He poked Nickelodeon quite a few times with pitches, always going back to the '87 cartoon, which is the truest, most nostalgic, fueled incarnation of the Turtles, I guess. Maybe not the truest, but it's the one that resonates the most with our generation. With kids between, I guess, I don't know, like 35 and 45, that's Gen X, millennial-ish, age range.
Geriatric millennials.
Yeah,
What they call that? They're called, I think.
that's what I am, I guess. And yeah, I mean, but at the core of it, we're all fans, and I guess that's why we did a good job. And obviously, we wanted to pay tribute to the classic games, to the '87 Turtles, but we also, expanded and touched to a bunch of things, and we'll go in detail about all those references possibly later on. But yeah, I think it comes in the end. We all of the tribute staff are all Turtle fans, and we made this sword as fans before anything else. So our only agenda was to respect the legacy, the Turtles, the IP, and do something that is one close to what tribute is just like old school retro gaming, but with that modern twist. So just making sure that the experience lives well today, because when we go back to older games, older beat 'em ups, they can feel clunky or kind of out of touch, or like they feel old, and how we remember those games are always, the memory of those games are way better than they actually are. so
Yeah.
so it's just like kind of juggling all these switches and making sure that we give like a really solid experience. So that's what we were aiming for, I guess.
Yeah, when I played it, it really resonated with me, and I saw it as like, Turtles in Time, Super Nintendo, released what 30-ish years ago, 25 years ago, or something like this, right? And people still love it. I still got the game in my collection, and it's one of my favorite games in my collection still today. Again, I haven't played the full game, but from playing the first 2 levels, I do see Shredder's Revenge to be the type of game that is going to live on for years to come, because it has that magic combination again of nostalgia, but also all these amazing twists. Like, now I want to talk about another game for 1 second that achieved that, and that's Streets of Rage 4. And we were lucky enough to work on this campaign as well a couple years ago now, and Dotemu was the publisher that released that game. Did a tremendous job in bringing back this franchise as well. Now you guys are working with Dotemu on this launch. Mm-hmm. They're publishing the game. How did that collaboration come into existence? Who called who and when?
Yannick, do you know the story?
I know that they both. I think down the line, like someone told both parties, like both of us on our sides were trying to get a TMNT game done, pitching it to Nickelodeon, specifically like an '87 Turtles game done, like it. One thing that Eric mentioned earlier, like Nickelodeon came back to us quite a few times saying, hey, do you want this franchise? Do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? And Attribute always said, no thanks. We want the Turtles, and specifically 87 Turtles, please. And I think that both parties learned through a third party, which now I'm realizing might have been someone from Limited Run who linked the two companies saying, well, the guys from Tribute, like they want to do a TMNT game, and a bunch of them not only did Scott Pilgrim, but they also work on the 2007 animated movie Game Boy Advance game version of the Turtles. So that's how we both companies linked up and pitched together to Nickelodeon, and Nickelodeon said yes, and couple of years later is where we're here to talk to you about it, and it's coming out this Thursday.
Is that how long it took to develop it? 2 years?
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Mostly.
We started researching all of this, like prepping the work for development. I think we all started about 25 plus years ago. Is that so?
Yeah.
No, we joke a lot, and we say that joke often, so I needed to plug that again. But it's, it wasn't in GF's mind from the start of Tribute, and he was in sort of like Yannick said, in relationship, and he was talking with Nickelodeon for quite a while, and timing wasn't good for like the other projects that Nickelodeon pitched us, and we're a pretty small team, and timing was just good. The fact that .mu was also there, it was kind of a perfect storm, and we consider ourselves really lucky to have that opportunity, and I think we did good. I think we did. What were you saying?
Yeah, I wanted to know, within those 2 years of development, what was the number one biggest challenge you had to overcome?
I think that one of the thing is that the project proved to be way more visual animation heavy than expected, but that's because we put so much love and care into it. Like, if you see like one of the big first images in our reveal trailer, like when you see gameplay, is that you see the 4 turtles running with all different running cycles. So like giving the turtles all this minute and careful and detailed animation that's filled with character, that's something that eventually like splashed upon the rest of the characters. Not that they have as much animation, but they needed to have character. And basically like a whole lot of bosses, a whole lot of enemies. So suddenly like we had to like hire more freelancers. So it became really, really art heavy in a way that all of our games have wonderful pixel art, and they're all art heavy, but that was the heaviest yet, and that's mostly like what I was able to perceive, because I'm not really, even though I know a bit what's happening, I'm not like, say, on the programming side of it all, but I am sort of connected to the art side because I have to write and suggest stuff that they will draw, or sometimes I have to adjust stuff depending on what they can provide. So that was the one that was I was really aware of.
So yeah, Casey almost didn't make it, in the game, because it was, the process, all the animations, all those sprites. It's a lot to ask. It's for the project itself, and for sure April and Splinter were, planned, but as for Casey, it would. You're adding X amount of hours for the animators, and this. So I guess that was a big challenge, and like I said, I mentioned COVID, and I don't want to talk about COVID. But, I was working from that basement, where my actual basement right now, and that's the fact where like everybody like worked from home. Like most of the time, there was like a couple of days where we came in with masks on, and it is what it was. Yeah. But it was a challenge for sure. But overall, the biggest challenge for it, I think it's will the game live up to the expectations of the fans? That's I think that's the biggest challenge.
you don't control that, I think, right? Like you really don't. I mean, you can try to gauge the expectations, but ultimately I think all your teams, like, you guys are fans of the TMNT franchise. It's a passion project, from what I'm hearing from you guys, right? From what I know about you guys at Tribute, and you can only do your best to try to make the best game that you can, and hope that the fans react positively. I think so far the response has been amazing. So I'm very confident about how the game's going to be perceived at launch, which is today.
We are too, but we don't want to jinx it.
Of course. But like, I don't think most people know or understand the amount of work that goes into adding an extra character. Like, it was announced at Summer Game Fest. It lasted the trailer lasted like 2 minutes or so, and like, boom, 2-minute announcement for something that took how many hours to make, because Casey Jones is, like, from what I've seen from the gameplay in the trailer, it has very specific moves with like his clubs and baseball bat and all these things, right? It's, and I don't know, it seems like doesn't look like recycled animations, in the way it's all brand new.
It is not.
So it's a lot of work that goes into this. I can understand how stressful it could be to want to launch and present a new character for launch a week or so before the actual launch and get ready for this. So
Yeah, and that's not just the animation, but like the background art also. There's no tiles. Everything is hand drawn, and it's everything's original. A couple of gifs and will be reused here and there because they're I don't know TV screens or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like the level art, everything is original. So everything is hand drawn, pixel by pixel. So there's a lot of care, a lot of work. So the artists they did an incredible job. So, looking at those levels, we have them packaged in PSD, and we can look at in Photoshop how it's done, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, the game looks absolutely amazing indeed. And you mentioned that you had to hire a lot of freelancers over the course of development. How many people, how big was the team, including freelancers, when you started the project, and how big was it at the end of the project?
Again, art-wise, because that's the part I'm more familiar with. We have an art director, an animator, and a background artist that are there full-time. So 3 people, and I think after a bit there were we had 2 other artists, 2 other animators, and we had a freelance background artist and 2 or 3 freelance animators.
So it's not much. It's less than 25. We're not not a big studio.
Yeah,
a big AAA studio.
But it's still a good increase, relatively to how many people you guys have normally on the team, right?
Yeah, it was probably 100% more. I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Double the size
the
here.
team at one point, probably almost doubled. I guess, but we're a pretty small studio. Maybe I mentioned this, but we're 16, 17, maybe we're 18 now. I don't recall the exact number, but yeah. So it's kind of at some point also it was kind of a it's kind of a family affair. If and everybody everybody wears a lot of hats at Tribute, and everybody pitched in. Even Yannick, he was just asking the team in our Discord server, hey, what could that character do in this instance or whatever, as a celebration or whatever, and everybody just pitched an idea. And sometimes the CFO or whoever, somebody who's not into narrative design or who's not an animator or a game designer had that brilliant idea. It made it into the game. So
I love that.
So that's it's we're very fortunate to be in a small team and have and that's why the game stayed really true to what Tribute is. So
we're very fortunate, and I don't think that this happens a lot in the industry, that we are an indie studio that got in charge of what is a AAA franchise, and that allowed for the game to be so good because we treated it like it was one of our own original property that we created. And also it allowed, say on my end, for narrative design, if I was working in one of the bigger companies that we have here in Montreal, there's no way that I could have done, I don't think I could have done plotting out the game, writing the game, do storyboards,
go in studio with the voice actors.
Go to be part of the recording sessions, all that stuff. And it was really exciting to be able to have ownership of that part of the game, whereas I haven't worked as a narrative designer for huge companies, but I imagine that these things are way more segmented, maybe.
Yep.
Unless they hire a firm or a company specifically for that on the outside. So I feel like we are really lucky to be able to have this bespoke approach to what is a massive property.
Yeah, absolutely. All this sounds amazing. It's I'm not gonna lie, I want to play the game now. I mean I've been wanting to play the game for weeks and months, but now I kind of I want to wait for the launch. It's just I told myself I want to wait for everybody to have access to it. But I'm
When
so
people
excited.
will listen to this, you will be playing it. So
I
you
will,
you have to
absolutely.
think outside of the four dimensions.
That's true. That's true. That's very true. I'll be exactly at this exact minute. I'll be playing the game
Exactly.
at home. Absolutely. No, I love these values and bringing everybody to participate. That's the way to build great things as a smaller team. I think in general, it's why would you have people keep a great idea because it's not in about their department? To me, it makes no sense, right? So it's especially something like this. So when you think about OG old school TMNT, like memories from your childhood, what is the number one thing that comes to mind? The number one memory you have of the Turtles from your childhood?
It has to be the toys, because that was all over the living room for me. I do remember like getting into the cartoon, but I guess like the best and the fondest memories are by far the toys.
Yeah.
This is what comes to mind. Obviously, right off the bat, it's that
Figurines,
yeah, for sure.
Amazing. What about you, Yannick?
For me, I have a specific memory of being with my father in the toy aisle at Canadian Tires and buying my first action figure, which was Donatello. I specifically remember that. I remember watching the cartoon on CTV after coming home from school, and every afternoon watching it. It aired right before Cheers. And I remember watching as many episodes as I could. And I remember playing the first game on the NES. I remember getting the Nintendo.
These are nightmares, by the way.
Yeah. Getting the Nintendo Fun Club leaflets, and they were previewing the game, and I was like, "Oh, this is exciting! Like another version of the Turtles." And the fact that they look so different on the box art was like, "Is this like the edgy adult version of the Turtles?" And of course, as a kid, the edgy adult version of anything else is super exciting to you. So you want to do that. And I would say like the other biggest the other big memories for me are playing the arcade game for the first time at a mall, and the fact that the attract mode felt so much like the cartoon, and that the Turtles would say pizza time and cowabunga, and that the sprites were so big and so colorful compared to the NES game. Yeah. I felt like I stepped into the world of the cartoon, and somehow it's really relevant to working on Shredder's Revenge, is trying to make it feel as if you stepped into that specific cartoon world as much as possible.
Yeah, the arcade game, just like the Simpsons arcade game, beat 'em up. They were striking, and I remember playing those like in South Carolina with my family. Like as a kid, I was maybe like 12, I don't know, 11, and I played those games, and it was just like you said, Yannick. It's like, hey, I'm playing the cartoon. I am the cartoon. It was mind blowing. That was really special, and I think kids now. And us gamers are like so used to awesome graphics and immersive experiences now. But at that time, it felt surreal.
But that was it. Yeah. That was the immersive experience.
Yeah.
That we had access to. Like for me, like the Turtles really took off. Obviously, I played the NES games. They were great for me as a kid. A bit different here. Like I'm not as attached to them as I was back then, but to me the 16-bit really propelled the beat 'em up genre general, but for the Turtles as well. And really much so, like I still love both Turtles in Time and Hyperstone Heist. I still don't think there's one better than the other, but I remember fondly the figurines as well, Eric, just as you you. For me, like the movies as well.
Yeah.
I remember the second movie with Vanilla Ice, I think, or the New Kids on the Block. I'm not sure. I think it was
Vanilla Ice. Yes.
Yeah.
Rob Van Winkle himself. Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know. Just this movie is just I'm very nostalgic about the Turtles movies. Maybe less so the third one, for some reason, just maybe less popular. But yeah, I think that
I remember I got into a bit even movies as a kid, and I would read le cahier weekend of Journal de Montréal every weekend, and I remember like at the bottom of the cover there was this advertising strip where there was like the first notion or image I saw of the Turtles movie, and it was very small, but a black and white version of all four of their heads under the sewer grating. And I remember
very
like
iconic image.
Yeah, I remember like looking like at it as if I could bump up the resolution and see it clearer. And I was at my grandma's and looking at the newspaper with my grandma like really intently, and then the phone rings and it's my sister who's at home, and she phoned me to tell me I'm watching Music Plus. I saw a trailer for the Turtles movie. So I'm pleading with my grandma, please, can we put it on Music Plus with all that awful rap and rock music that you probably don't like, in case I might be able to catch a sliver of commercial to see like the live action Turtles. And my grandma being very sweet, she said yes, why not. So I just like spent a whole afternoon watching TV hoping to catch a commercial. And when I did, it's like my eyes could not open even wider.
You saw it?
Yeah, I saw it, and when I went home, I spent the rest of the afternoon doing that as well. Then went to the living room, prepared a videotape so I can record it and watch it over and over. So
that's how it's done.
Almost serial killer type of origin type of stuff.
And look at you now, narrative designer of Shredder's Revenge.
Absolutely.
It's all paying off.
I love to hear those stories. Like also, let's not forget like TMNT came from like a very like literally black and white kind of like underground comic.
Yes.
You know, and it was much darker than the mainstream. What the mainstream know the Turtles for now. You know, like it wasn't specifically meant for kids back then. You know, the very like original versions. You know. So I watched a documentary about this. It was quite interesting. I myself, as a fan of the Turtles, didn't know this until I watched that documentary, you know? So I don't think most of us have experienced the underground Turtles comic book from like the early 80s or whatever it was.
I've read a couple. They're pretty cool. The way they're drawn is so dynamic, but almost it's outsider art as well. It's really rad because you see all that creativity like just pouring on the page, and that's just super cool. I love it.
Yeah, it's really raw. It's sketchy. It's it feels dangerous, but it felt different. That's why it blew up so much, and and now you get picked up by a major network, and they change it, and it becomes something else. And I guess Kevin's pretty happy of how it turned out. I cannot speak for him, but we tried to pay homage to what we think the Turtle is for like the masses and for the fans. But we thought of all the types of fans. You could be a toy collector. You could be a fan of the '87 cartoon. You could be a fan of like just the games, and we'll have something in the game that will speak specifically to you.
About
so
this. That's great.
I think there's so much references, Easter eggs, cool ideas that Yannick just like cherry picked and just spread throughout the game. So it's like I said early in this episode, it's just like doing some fan servicing, but just under the radar.
Yeah.
It's
So there's a lot of Easter eggs in the game. Fans
I guess so.
a lot of Easter eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, in the background, in the foreground, in the text, in the trailers.
Any secret areas.
I don't know.
You might be able to find some NPCs that are somewhat hidden in stages.
Okay.
Some
Interesting.
of the supporting cast from the cartoon, you might be able to find them.
Yeah.
Excellent. So it would require a little bit of digging.
Just
right?
a bit, yeah.
Just a bit of digging.
I mean,
to find
it's
them.
it's a beat 'em up, so there's a limit on that digging that you can do like within
Right.
the level. But yeah, just a bit.
Okay, very cool. Now let's talk. It's we're gonna go into fan questions in a few minutes,
Sure.
but before that, any cheat codes in the game?
Cheaters only cheat themselves, Xavier.
Yeah. No. We do have the tribute code, which is pretty close to a classic utter code, cheat code.
Yeah.
Doesn't activate anything in Shredder's Revenge, or yet.
Yeah.
However, we made sure that Shredder's Revenge can be enjoyed by anyone. So you don't really need a cheat code to enjoy the game. You can just button mash and play like the story mode easy.
Yeah.
And you'll have a ball. But if you're like a really good gamer and you plan out combos and you have that swiftness and that dexterity, you can play like a gnarly game, or like really hard game, do the arcade mode, try a no-hitter against a boss, stuff like that. So there's a lot of challenges, hidden challenges, trophies, achievements.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of fun, We
Absolutely.
It's a pretty solid also offering. We have close to a bit over 15, 16 levels.
That's
It's
huge.
can be a long game. 2 modes, a story mode where it's really fun to enjoy by yourself, I guess. So you can like replay levels, figure out patterns if you want to get better. When it's time to play with your friend, the arcade mode at night. So it's I think there's a lot to discover in the game, and all characters are different. So that's it adds to the replayability, I guess.
Of course. And there's you got 6-player mode, which is absolutely insane. We're used to like the 4-player mode, I guess, or at least a 2-player mode in beat 'em ups. I love that you can just jump in your friend's game mid-game. Like, to me, like, that's one of the best features of a beat 'em up game. Like, locally, when you go to a friend's house, you just pick up the controller and jump in the game. The fact that you can do that online is just amazing to me.
Yeah, jump in, jump out, because we wanted to have like a really good party experience, and that was an objective, to make a perfect party game. And it gets pretty chaotic 6-player, like, to be quite honest, but it's so much fun visually. It's when you play the game alone or with like a friend, you can manage and you can plan out attacks. When we're 6 playing at the same time and there's a bunch of Foot Clan and getting thrown across the screen, bumping on the sides of the screen, because side of the screens are collision now, contrary to the past like beat 'em up games. So they bounce off the screen, come back in the middle of the screen, and like one do a special, the other do a combo, or we have those like co-op moves now, so 2-player can like attack the same enemy at the same time and do like a kind of a special squeeze attack, or like a throw or something. So it adds so much more to the gameplay and to the fun. So it's playing the game alone, playing the game with 6 friends, it changes everything. So
Playing 6 players, I don't think I've ever played a beat 'em up with 6 players. I'm not even sure if that even exists outside of Shredder's Revenge. Do you guys know any other game that does that?
The old Konami X-Men game had 6 players.
Oh,
like,
really?
It was like a wide arcade with like 2 or 3 screens. Like they
wow.
they made it
Yeah.
extra. I imagine like they had the idea of a 6-player thing in their back pocket, and they waited on maybe the correct license to try it out. But yeah,
it was
that's
more
one.
of an action game than like a classic beat 'em up. But I guess.
It's true.
Yeah, you talk about, like, you ask me what game is a 6-player game. Everybody goes to X-Men, I guess. People might go Shredder's Revenge now. Who knows?
Yeah. We got some fans' questions, guys. And we've had a lot of people ask their questions on Twitter. We picked a few. We also picked some that were asked by several people. So hopefully we get to answer a lot of the fans' questions here.
Sure.
We got a question from Lamont Reed, who asks, how long did it take the team to come up with the art concept to start development?
I'm not entirely sure. I know that it really started with different things, like we worked with Paul Robertson in the past, so we had him like create like a lineup of different characters. But then Adam Marin, our art director, like took that lineup of characters and like recreated like a lot of them. And I feel like, if I'd had to say, I feel like a lot of maybe the ratio or the proportions like were really helpful from Paul's art lineup, but Adam really worked on all of the characters and made them his own, or all of ours, if I want to say so. I feel like this was really, really early in the process, and then with Mathieu, they made and animated a Leonardo, because for at first like it was all Leonardo's on screen, and
Right.
that's how it started. But like a full character, if I remember correctly from what Mathieu told me, a full playable animated character is almost like 2 months of work, maybe a bit more. So I imagine that maybe the first time it took a bit more time than that.
Because Leonardo is the most balanced of all the characters, correct?
Yes, but also I think there was just maybe something about like, because he had two weapons in each hands, like you could see how you work out the poses for that and stuff like that. So it started from Leonardo, and then they did the other turtles, probably like also like a foot soldier to begin with as well.
Right. I love my favorite. You guys have taunts in the game, and the Donatello taunt with the Game Boy. Oh my god, this is it's so cute with the face, the way that, I don't know, I just love that. To me, it's all these little things in the game.
The first time that popped into the Discord, like I went, this is great. People are gonna love that. I love it. It's amazing.
It really is. All these little touches for me, like,
There's something special about that, because the for me, like, the cartoon, was first aired in 87, but it exists into this 87 to 92, even though I know it went on much longer. It's sort of the world or the time period that it lives in, like, and so for Donatello to have a Game Boy, it just makes sense that he would, and there's just something inherently charming about that.
Absolutely.
It's not a Game Boy; it's a handheld device.
Of course.
Yeah. But it also, I think, like, it's also nostalgic for us, because back in the days, it reminds us of us playing the Game Boy, or the handheld.
No, that's a Game Boy. We all know it. It's a small, like, it's like a couple like gray pixels. That's it.
Yeah. Lamont also asks, and he's not the only one. Any plan for a DLC yet?
Eric, do you want to cover that?
I'll answer it because it's kind of a touchy question. Well, at one point, Casey was most probably going to be a DLC, and we were able to put Casey in, fortunately. But right now, we're not working on a DLC. However, the game is not launched yet, and for sure...
Or it is. It is now.
Yeah, it is. It was just released.
At the time of recording, it is not. At the time of publishing this, if you're listening to this, it is out now on every single platform.
It is. Go buy it now, please. Obviously, if the game does really, really well, and I guess we have the talent and we have the ideas to give something like more to the fans. That's for sure. would Tribute be willing to do it? I guess. However, there's nothing official right now. So there's ideas, but we're working on getting that game out, and it's out now. And the plan is to make sure the experience is solid, and if there's any hopefully there's not too many patches or work to be done, obviously post-release. But I'm confident that if the fans are there and if the fans' requests are there, that something might happen. People were asking, and we got bombarded, bring Casey, put Casey into the game, and we felt that pressure early on. And we were sort of in a position where we were it was an obligation to put him in the game, or at least have a DLC ready or something. So we had that pressure. So I guess if the fans really want it, we'll have to give them something.
You heard it first, guys. Buy the game in masses, and DLC might just come along.
Yeah, money talks. It's not our decision. It'd be fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have tons of ideas, and the whole team does. So there's definitely the passion is there for it, but it doesn't mean that it's gonna happen. But I think that we would love it to happen.
Yeah, I think the fans would too, as I would. You gotta love it when the game basically just released, and and even before it releases, there's already requests for DLC. The people are so hyped about it, they just want more already.
Yeah,
it's rarefied
it's cool.
air. We're really lucky.
That's awesome. We got another question from the Garage Gamer, and the question is: how much inspiration did you take from the old Turtle games that came before it, and what ideas did you have to take your game to the next level?
I think we are inspired by the Konami beat 'em up games, of course. That's sort of the basic formula on which our game is built, not just because it's a Turtles game, but also because it's a beat 'em up game, and the beat 'em up sort of equation formula that they came up with way back then is so solid and a lot of fun. But it allows itself to be reinvented or to be added upon, and that's one thing that we did very quickly that we wanted. So we made it a bit more generous, is what I like to say, because if you play these old games, especially the arcade versions, they're really precise. You have to be on the same axis of a foot soldier if you want your hits to land. But
how many dive kicks just missed from a few pixels?
yeah, that's frustrating, and we wanted to remove that type of frustration from the game. So when that happens, our hits are more the general collision space for the fighting is more generous. So that's one thing that we really wanted to do. Another one being just add moves to it, because again, that formula is really simple. You get attack, jump kicks, certain throws. So we have an evade button, we have special attacks. The previous game had special attacks as well, but we have different types of special attacks. So
we have 3 now, 3 per character.
Nice.
2 slides per character. The move list is crazy. Yannick's right.
Yeah. We have a deeper move list, so that the people who want to get into more fanciful gaming can do that as well. So very quickly, when you're adding to such a classic formula, you see what you can add and what you should steer clear from, and that was pretty easy right off the bat for our game designers, I feel.
There's also ideas that came from .mu, and just removing those frustrations, like we mentioned before, having the size of the screens as collisions, bringing back not waiting for the enemy to come back in the screen, so it just the fun factor gets elevated a bit. The fact that we're in Shredder's Revenge, you don't have to spend your health to perform a special attack. that we have. You line up a bunch of combos, your gauge will be filled, and you'll be able to do a special attack. Awesome. You're not spending or like losing your health. And if you're not really good doing combos, you can just taunt and it will fill up your gauge. So it's really a democratic experience. And, like Yannick said, we're removing frustrations, and that's where like the modern twist, takes its place. We're making sure that everybody will be able to enjoy the game and like, do the specials, do the fun, grabbing an enemy and throwing at a screen is pretty easy.
Oh, yeah. Mode 7.
Sorry?
Mode 7.
Yeah.
Right? You incorporated mode 7. How did you do it? Did you put a special chip in the game?
We're bound under NDA for mode 7 technology. We can't talk about it. It's still top secret after all this time.
Awesome.
Yeah, we didn't rush that release, that's for sure. We took our time, and that comes with the respect we wanted to give the game and the IP.
I also feel that that's something I saw a lot online, like people feeling that a game like this shouldn't take 2 years, but seeing the care that's put in it, I feel like 2 years is pretty short.
I'm surprised it only took 2 years. I haven't played the first 2 levels. I don't think if people think that 2 years is long, they haven't tried the game yet.
Yeah, or just again like all the mind labyrinth that it has to be to make sure that a 6-player co-op experience works. Like, I don't want to be in that labyrinth, but our programmers went into it and worked on it really hard. So
we have another question from Joseph Gorbani, who's asking actually some pretty wild question that I'm really excited about. If you guys had to create this game for a retro console for fun, all right, which would it be? The Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo? Which one would it be?
It'd be a great Jaguar game. No, Jaguar for our international listeners. No, I guess on a marketing standpoint, I guess like Super Nintendo would make more sense, but I don't know.
Yeah, if we could get like one of these like multi-tap type of deals, so we can do the multiplayer on the Super Nintendo, I feel like it would be great.
Natural place for the game.
Yeah,
I feel.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm sad not that you didn't mention the Genesis, guys. Come on, there's a great TMNT game there. Hyperstone Heist is great.
With super ripped Shredder in it.
Yeah, that's true.
That Shredder is muscular. He's shredded.
Well, talking about bosses, I got another question from Greeno Link, who's actually the world champion of Streets of Rage 4, by the way. So very technical, very knowledgeable guy when it comes to beat 'em ups. And he wants to know, other than the obvious bosses like Shredder, Krang, Bebop, Rocksteady, could you guys name your favorite villain that is included in this game?
I
got one, but I cannot say it. It's too massive to be mentioned.
It's too massive. Yes.
People who know.
I feel like we created a version of a boss that appears pretty late in the game that's really cool. I'm really happy to see the reaction to that boss. That's pretty great. Also, I can reveal without much surprise that Leatherhead is in the game, and I think he's extremely funny. Like, the whole exaggerated Louisiana accent is really funny, and there's just something about him that he always has his mouth open, and he looks really silly in the right sweet spot for a TMNT character. So I like him a lot.
Cool. And Eric, going back to you, can you say maybe the first letter of the name of the boss you were thinking of?
It's Krang related, but it's not Krang. But
Oh, okay, so
it's-
Eric and I have the same boss.
Yes, because
I think we're talking about the same boss.
It's an intricate part of the storyline and everything, but
Let's not
that's by
spoil it.
far it's the biggest surprise in the game for me. The fight itself is amazing. It's so much fun. The background art is just perfect. I guess that it's kind of it's obviously the climax for me. It's kind of just like before the final act. It's that moment. It's that moment in the game. And
So
I
if you
cannot spoil it.
guys want to know, you know what to do.
I do enjoy Rat King playing his flute early on in the game. That's pretty cool.
Okay, awesome.
I don't
Well,
like
guys,
rats.
are you guys ready for a TMNT trivia?
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
ready to lose.
We got 15 questions. Okay, the more questions, or as we keep going, the questions are going to get harder and harder. Okay, so it's almost like a who wants to be the fifth ninja kind of trivia type, right? So, you guys ready?
Yeah.
You can consult each other.
Yes,
after
I will
each
also
question.
cheat using the internet. No, I won't.
You guys have 10 seconds to answer each question. Is that fair?
Okay, and I scream it out loud. Is that it? Or
You can consult each other and just make a decision at the end. Okay. All right. First question: how many Ninja Turtles are there? 1, 4, 87, or 93?
In the cartoon that we're adapting, there are 4.
Wrong. There's 90. Oh, no, sorry. If that's correct. 4 turtles. It's good.
Because it could have been like a from an episode. There's like multiple realities. It could have been a trick question.
Yeah, or we could count Slash, who does appear in the 87 cartoon, and Tuka as well. So then you'd have 6 turtles. But
And there's like Venus, June. Is there like a bunch of other turtles?
there's
like in
Venus,
the-
there's
in the new
Jenica,
incarnations?
there's...
Well, the right answer for this one was 4. You got
All
it.
right, cool. We're taking this
question.
very seriously, as you can see.
Second question: which weapon does Donatello uses? A sai, a nunchucks, the bow, twin katanas, or ninja toes?
Ninja Turtle, that's fun. It has to be a bow. Yannick, final answer.
Donatello does use the humble bow staff.
There we go. Awesome. Question 3: what color bandana does Michelangelo wear? Red, orange, black, or yellow?
I think it could be a trick question, but I think orange is the safest answer.
Yeah, a wonderful like sherbet orange.
Yes. Do you need the correct Pantone? No.
There we go. Orange is the right one. What is the ingredient the turtles don't like under pizza? Is it anchovies, pineapple, veggies of any kind, or pepperoni?
I don't know that one.
I do know that
vibing
one.
pepperoni. Do you know it?
No, I do know it. They hate anchovies, but you know what? I love it. I love
Yeah,
anchovies on my...
same. I love it
as
too,
well.
but they don't. That's true. Anchovies is the right answer.
I think they turned the entire generation against the idea of anchovy with their anti-anchovy messaging. They,
But Futurama
yeah.
tried to redeem anchovies, but
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if it worked.
I typically like if I order pizza, I'll just put like anchovies I got at home on the pizza.
Yes.
you know?
And that small like glass jar.
Yep.
You
Exactly.
go, one for me, one for the pizza.
Exactly.
one for me,
That's
one
it.
for-
What substance transformed the turtles into Ninja Turtles? Is it Substance X, anchovies, ooze, or goop?
Gotta
it
be
is.
ooze.
It is ooze, also known as mutagen.
Yes.
Exactly. 5 out of 5 so far, guys. Amazing.
Not bad.
Question number 6. How many sequels did the 90 version of the TMNT movies have? 1, 2, 3, or 0?
There were 2 sequels.
Yeah.
That is correct. Amazing. 6 out of 6. Question 7. Who did April originally work for in the comics? Okay. Shredder, News Station, Baxter Stockman, or she was an entrepreneur?
She was a scientist that also worked with Baxter Stockman.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow, I'm impressed. 7 out of 7, guys. Let's keep on rolling. The millions only 8 questions away. Okay. All right, question 8. What is the mutant warthog and rhinoceros criminal duo called? Twist and Pulse, Rock and Hogsteady, Joey and Chandler, or Bebop and Rocksteady?
Oh.
Joey and Chandler would be pretty great.
Yes, that was my call.
It is Bebop and Rocksteady.
Exactly. All right, number 9. What news station does April O'Neil work for? Channel 3 News, Channel 4 News, Channel 5 News, or Channel 6 News?
6.
The 6, yes.
Final answer.
Amazing. Final answer 6. Let's go. 10th question. What year was the first TMNT game released? All right, we're getting into kind of like a harder question here. 1988, 1989, 1990, or 1995?
Can you repeat?
What year was the first TMNT game released?
Yeah. So,
88, 89, 90, or 95?
Has to be 88 or 89, right?
The NES one is 88. I believe the arcade is 89. So I'm going to say 88, provided that you are talking about the NES version.
So the answer I have here is 89, but I'll give you guys a pass because I don't have the information to validate which version we're talking about, okay? I'll give it to you guys. Question 11. What was the name of the 5th female turtle introduced in the late 90s live-action TMNT series? Is it Venus de Milo, Venus d'Amelio, Venus, or Neptune?
It's
Has to be A. I'm vibing A, Yannick.
Yeah, it's Venus de Milo. She does shinobi magic, I believe.
That is correct. That is correct. Number 12. What sports equipment does Casey Jones not carry around in his bag of tricks?
Ooh.
A baseball bat, a hockey stick, a pool cue, or a golf club?
In which incarnation? Or all of them?
I feel like
All of them.
all of them. I feel like he's a pull cue is not violent enough for Casey, so I'd go with pull cue.
Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
It's either C or D.
That's C,
Well,
I believe.
Yeah, let's go with Pull Q.
That is correct. Amazing. Only 3 questions to go, guys, and technically so far, flawless. Who voiced Shredder in the original TMNT cartoon show in 87 to 96? Is it James Earl Jones, James Avery, Jeff Goldblum, or William Daniels?
It's James Avery, who was also Uncle Phil in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's wonderful.
Excellent. That's great.
I also
Another-
I also
Great
want
Pull
to
Q
add
user.
that in the very fun Batman TMNT animated movie, there's a Baxter Stockman is there in his fly form, and the person voicing him does a Jeff Goldblum impression, which is pretty funny.
Guys, I'm very impressed so far.
Fun fact.
I think I'm a fan of the Turtles, but I would have probably answered like maybe 7 out of those 13 questions right. You guys are nailing it. All right, question 14. Which Marvel character do the Turtles share an origin story with? Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, or Daredevil?
It is Daredevil, because the way it's run in the comic, the canister that blinds him and the ooze falls onto the turtles as well. And they're originally a parody of Daredevil, because Daredevil fights the Hand and the turtles fight the Foot Clan.
Wow, amazing. That is correct.
Solid, Yannick. So I'm glad you're my colleague and friend.
Guys, I really did not expect you guys to be 14 out of 14. Right now, we got the 15th question coming up. What is Super Shredder's helmet called? Is it the Shrelmet, the Kuro Kabuto, the Boshi, or the Shred Cap?
I feel like the second one is a weapon, so I'm gonna go with Boshi.
Is that your final answer?
It is my final answer.
No, unfortunately, it is the Karu Kabuto.
Oh, shame on me.
What
was the first one?
The Shrelmet.
Wow, I wanna start a band, a metal band, and it's called the Shrelmet. That's awesome.
Guys, still 14 out of 15.
No,
I know the last one hurt, but
it hurts.
it was close.
It hurts.
It was close. Amazing, guys. I mean, you guys know your turtles. I think we can all agree to that.
But not my headwear, sadly.
Well, to your defense, he uses his helmet as a weapon.
I mean,
So-
if he headbutts you with that, it's pretty bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Guys, the episode is unfortunately coming to a close.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything you want to add or say or to your fans listening to this episode?
I do hope you guys enjoy it. Shredder's Revenge was like a labor of love, and feel free to connect with us on all socials, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So Tribute Games, check us out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, check us out. If you enjoy Shredder's Revenge, please take a look at our wonderful games catalog. We have lots of great games in there that we worked. Just before that one, like we went straight from Panzer Paladin into Shredder's Revenge. It's a great fun game. So check all of these out, and I guess we hope you enjoy the game. We really enjoyed making it, so I hope that you enjoy it as well.
Absolutely.
Play
Guys.
it with friends.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Yeah, play it with friends.
Order pizza.
Absolutely. It has to be a thing, just friends party, ordering pizza, just playing some TMNT Shredder's Revenge
Order
co-op.
Pretty
Pizza
sure like
from a-
pizza sales. There's going to be an uplift in pizza
Yeah, yeah.
sales.
Order from a non-chain place, like a neighborhood pizza place, and
Yes.
get ready for
Eat
TMNT.
local pizza.
Yes.
Hashtag eat local pizza. Guys, the game is out now. TMNT Shredder's Revenge is out on Switch, PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox, PC. There's no excuses not to get the game, guys. It's amazing. And it just released today at the time of releasing this episode. I am very excited because my future self is playing right now. And I hope you guys are too at home. Like Eric said, well, first of all, I want to thank you both, Yannick and Eric. I know and even taking even more time than expected today to talk to us and talk about the experience that it was to build that game. Thank you so much. And guys, follow them on Twitter at Tribute Games and also Instagram Tribute_Games. All their socials
Correct.
will be in the description below this section. And don't forget, comment who you want us to interview next in this episode. Guys, Eric, Yannick, thank you again. Good job and congrats to the teams at Tribute Games, at .mu as well for the release of TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Guys at home, thank you for listening, and I'll see you all next week with another episode.